All right. Luka, LA, AD, Dallas. I was like, and other, I guess, trade stuff if I want to talk about it. I was like, look, now that it's been a couple of days hearing everybody that you got to hear talk about all this type of stuff, I was like, I was like, and even that same day, I was talking about it with like my uncle and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I think Dallas actually fine. And then starting to hear everybody else be saying it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's not that special of a take. Um, I was like, yeah, yeah, it's not. I think that it's not as shocking when you're able to actually look at it. I think it's really because Luka is just coming off of going to the finals. I think if Luka like was say like second round exit, I think it'd be a shock. It just wouldn't be as crazy as what we think it is. But I think this is basically something that works for both teams, and I think for both teams right now to be like that. I think Dallas is easy to say basically in the next 2 to 3 years that this really works out for them. I was like, it depends on how much they sign Kyrie back for. But given the nature of like the fact that Klay Thompson, I think is on 3 years, right? I was like, AD just signed that contract not too long ago. Lively's on a rookie deal. I was like, you probably go. I was like, I was like, there's some maneuvering around, but I was like, to me, I think they got a good total amount of pieces to where it's like it's not too bad to uh as you get Luka. I think the ceiling isn't there, but I think your floor is also pretty. I was like pretty high as well. They just traded Quentin Grimes for Caleb Martin, which I was like that. I was trying to figure out the lineup there, and I was like, now Martin can fit in at the three. Cause I was thinking, I was like, okay, maybe you got Kyrie, Christie, Clay, Davis, Gafford. But I was like, now you got Caleb, so I was like, maybe you got Caleb at the three and Clay at the two. Um, yeah, and Chrissy and them coming off the bench. Cause I think PJ gonna have to be at the bench. I was like, I don't think you should play him at the three that much in that type of way. Um, but I was like, they got enough veterans. They got enough wing players. They're weirdly like the Celtics. They're not the Celtics, but they're weirdly like the Celtics. Where I'm just like, you got enough long, athletic wing type player to play against him. You got enough big dudes to play where you can play Porzingis, Al Horford, that type of thing. You can play any type of matchup you want to. I still think they need another scorer. I still think I was like just because Clay, I was like, you still got to see how he sort of performs in the playoffs. I was like, he was hot. Then he sort of dropped off a minute. And he sort of found his way back. I was like, but he's gonna be streaky at this point in his career. Kyrie, I think he's also a guy that's like, I think regular season he'll be. I was like, he's gonna be fine. In the playoffs, he did dip, and some of that might be just because you play with Luka, who sort of just holds on to the ball and stuff. So maybe it's different once he's able to get his rhythm going. But we also seen where it didn't go. So I was like, to me, I was like, another score I think will do well for them. But I was like, I think that they'll be fine this year to where it's like I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the conference championship again. Um, and I was like, I could see them in basically in all these scenarios because it's like if AD's going to be healthy, Kyrie's going to be healthy. I was like, those two dudes alone, I think is going to be able to play with anybody else also in the playoffs. Lakers, on the other hand, I was like, everybody's talking about the future for the Lakers, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. That's. I was like, that makes sense because I was like, you got Luka for at least if he signs the man contract, you at least got him for 5 years. Um, so it's like, oh, okay, cool. And it's like, okay, they got to figure out big man. They still got to figure out pieces. Let's get it. Let's get this out the way. I was like, at first I was like, can Luka and LeBron play together? They got similar playing style. I was like, I know that Luka gets a lot of James Harden comparisons. I was like, I used to say that as well too, but he's also LeBron like at the same time. So I was like, can they? I was like, to be honest, it really is. Can LeBron play enough off ball? Now I will say that LeBron had played with enough players in the league that I was like, I think it won't be hard for him to figure out and adapt. I think he can still play his game. I think it'll help him because like he ain't got to shoulder the burden anymore. I was like he's shooting really well. That I think that I was like that will work. He had a spot up 3-point shooter, but he's also out there and he can still go to the basket. Um, And I was like, also, I was like, him and Luka's like passing ability, it's just going to help everybody else out. I think they will have to stagger that, like I said before in the last video, stagger him, Reeves, and like with Reeves, Reeves going to have to be to me a 6 man. And I think until basically is until it's like the fourth quarter, I was like, then you can have all three on because you need everybody on there that can make a basket. So I was like, they're going to need another wing, they need another big. And I was like, LeBron to me, I was like, he either played a four at times. I was like, he played with somebody like Wade, except for he got better people that could shoot around him. So I don't think it's going to be as difficult as people think of them playing together. Maybe a little bit this year, but also at the same time, that's why like people are like, oh, they're not expecting much this year. We're going to have, maybe it's a next year thing, and I'm just like, why? We've seen Luka with less talent take those dudes to the second round, or to the conference championship. We've seen this before. I'm like, you don't think with LeBron James and they plug and play somebody here that you don't think that they can that they can't make it to the second round or whatever? They could bust somebody out. I was like, Luka has that crazy ability where it's like how LeBron used to, where it's just like, how do they win? LeBron James. I was like, now they got Luka. So guess what? It's gonna be a game where you're just like, what? How are they winning? Cause Luka went for 43 and LeBron had 25, and it's like, oh, that's probably why. That damn thing is crazy. So it's like if they just find a couple pieces here and there, they'll be good. So I was like, from that perspective, I was like, I would not be shocked. And if we really want to be over here saying some stuff is scripted or rigged, let them find each other in the playoffs, and then seeing right then and there of who's going to win this battle or this trade. Because I think over the long haul, I was like, unless Dallas win the championship in the next 2 or 3 years, it's the Lakers. Just because I was like, I was like, do Luka need to win the championship in LA? Yes, to be a like LA legend, but they got their main guy for several years. That it doesn't matter. They got their plan after LeBron. That I'm like I was like that's why I'm like they win the trade, because I was like their window is longer compared to the Mavericks, not necessarily the better player here, which is Luka, but I was like AD ain't no slouch, so it's like it's a lot closer in that regard. Now Dallas, I was like I said, I think they need to go find a score or something like that, somebody that's like could also get them buckets or whatever. Maybe I was trying to think. I was like Clarkson. I don't think he'd be bad, but I was like I want somebody that got a little bit more size for him or whatever. Somebody else that could also play at the three. Um, I was like that'd be a little bit of a shooter or somebody that could just get their own buckets. Um, but I was like, but the problem is with the second apron and all that other stuff. Some of those trades is really hard to pull off. Of like, who can you really go out here and get with, I want to say, ease of all this. And that's something for like the real like nerd heads to sort of go figure out. The Lakers, on the other hand, now let me go ahead and be stupid, let me be dumb, and let me say the Lakers, who still got their picks, who still got some pieces around them. If you want to be stupid, go out there and go get Joel Embiid. If you just taking parts, if you taking part, being I would sell you the same way that they got sold with Luka, where it's like, yo, he out of shape. You don't know he gonna hold up. I was like, yeah. I was like, you don't want that. You look at y'all now. Look at y'all now. He barely playing every other night. You don't want that on your hands, do you? No. You don't want that. I was like, how would you like to start a new whole backcourt with Tyrese Maxey and Austin Reeves? How would you? I was like, he ain't even gonna really do that much over here. Like I know we got Luka. But now we got two out of shape people. We can't survive like that. Like I'd be over here selling them like that. Hell, I will even try to do something dumb like that with Zion Williamson. I was like, look, I'm just saying, if you gonna be in the business of basically like, hey, I'm gonna take you being scared and you being terrified that these out of shape, broken down people ain't gonna be right with y'all. Hey, I'll take them. Give you a bare minimum for them. I was like, I'll take them right off your hands. I was like, I'm just saying. I was like, why not? Is it realistic? Hell, it might as well be at this point. We didn't think Luka was realistic, now did you? So go ahead, just give it a try. Why not? And I'm like, you over here talking about let's try for Walker Kessler, or let's see if we can pull off another big man or whatever, Nikola Vucevic. No, no. If I'm going to get any of that, give me the guy with the highest upside talent. Don't give me this low sector type of stuff. Like, no, I was like, give me somebody for real. I was like, I was like, nah, they need. I was gonna say they need a big man with defense. I was gonna say Domantas Sabonis, but I was like, nah, they need a big man that can defend and stuff like that. And I was like, they do need a big man, and I would say they do need another. Cause I was like, LeBron is going to play the four at times, but I do think that you also do need to get a four shooting guard. I mean, shooting type of big or whatever. I was like, how many of them is, or somebody that could be in that spot? How many of those are really around? I was like, they'll try Vanderbilt or whatever. But I was like, you got Rui, and I was like, I think he had enough upside to try him with some other people or whatever. So I was like, I think they still got. I think if they could get a decent big, where it's Robert Williams or somebody like that, then I was like, I think they're in good shape. To where I was like, both of these teams you can probably see in the conference, just because it's like the team aspect of Dallas that got that dude with the dude, to where it's like the Lakers who got the dude with the dude. So I was like, guess what? I was like, yeah. I was like, Denver. I was like, Denver is not at. I was like, they got Jokic, but it's like I'm just like, yeah, but they ain't there yet. Like they've been in the past. I was like I was like the Thunder. It's like you don't know how it is until we gotta see how it is if they get Chet back or whatever. I was like Memphis. I was like Memphis is a threat, but they always just know how to screw it up. To where it's like I was like the Clippers. I was like the Clippers playing well, but we don't trust their ass right now. Anything can happen with them. Phoenix, we got to see if they roll out Jimmy Butler or not. Now I think that might change the dynamic of that team. Houston, I was like they got a bunch of young cats, but I was like they young cats. Uh, yeah, I was like, to me, I was like they're going to be one of the more veteran squads. Seem like they should be able to make it in there. Now let's talk about some of the other ones. I was like Zach Lavine going to the Kings. I'm really sad because I really would like Zach Lavine to go somewhere where I think he can actually use his powers to actually help a team. And you're not going to get that with the Kings. Now you're sort of back in the same boat with Chicago, to be honest. And it just sort of sucks. And I think he's way better than that. I was like, I've always been one of those people that I'm just like, the contract. I like now y'all fine with it in a way. I was like, not really, but you get what I'm saying compared to when it's like before the apron and stuff like that. People were like, I ain't touching it. I was like, that's when y'all wasn't touching it. So I don't know what they're gonna do with him, DeRozan. I was like, DeRozan, I feel like he's got to go somewhere else, or whatever. Would DeRozan work with the Mavs? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I mean, you got enough big dudes to counteract their defensive liability, and you will get now you have a multitude of scores to where I'm just saying, if I'm playing dumb GM, I was like, I'm gonna do it. 1 year, it's just 1 year rental. I was like, whatever. Darren Fox going over to Spurs. I think he helps. I don't think he's going to be the main factor in Wemby getting to where he needs to go. I think he is a piece. I think that they're collecting something for another bigger piece. I was like, kind of like, you got Wemby, you got Fox. I think you need somewhere in the middle of somebody that will come available sometime soon. But I think now they got a collection of pieces to where I was like, they'll be vying for the playoffs, and then until like that piece happens, they're always going to be within like the 7 range or whatever for a good while. I was like, I don't know who that piece will be just yet, but I was like, yeah, if they got somebody different, I was like a King Murray, I was like along with Fox, I'd be like, oh, that's a little different, but at least here I'm like, oh, okay, because I was like, especially a lot of teams got their sort of pieces in the way that that just won't mix with Wemby and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was like, I think it's gonna be interesting to see what this trade deadline does. Cause I was like, there is teams that I think outside of like your Cleveland's, your Celtics, that I think and I would say the Thunder, that I think could get pieces to help improve them. Everybody else, I think has a room for improvement. The Knicks, I don't really think there's really nothing for them to do. I like the Sixers. I like to me, it's really just like if they will just keep the band together wholesale. Uh, Milwaukee, I was like they need something. I would have liked if they would have got Zach Lavine, just because I'm just like they got enough. They got Portis or Lopez. They would have to get one of them up. But if they kept one of them along with Giannis, I'm like, you got enough bigs back there to cover up some of their deficiencies. Try to find like another wing or something like that. That I'm just like, and I was like, and Jimmy, I was like, Jimmy versus the Heat, I'm on Jimmy's side. Jimmy overall though, I think he's hurting himself of like kind of he doesn't get to Phoenix. I'm like, there's so many places he can go, and I was like, you can get maybe what you want. I was like, you might not. I was like, I don't know about giving him a match just because I was like, I don't like giving people who gonna be damn near 40 that type of money or whatever. To me, he's just. I'm like, I know you want the security, but I was like, at the same time, he needs the security just because I was like, now his reputation is what his reputation is. Whereas like most cases, I'd be like, no, I'll play that shit 1 year. 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, 1 year. If you were still playing at a good enough level in order to command all this or whatnot, because I was like, you couldn't tell me that Milwaukee wouldn't be better with a Jimmy Butler on the team. You couldn't tell me. I was like, you couldn't obviously Phoenix or something like that, but you couldn't tell me Memphis wouldn't be better with a Jimmy on the team. You couldn't tell me that Dallas wouldn't be better with a Jimmy on this team. You get what I'm saying? Like that's that to my mind, he can make impact on certain squads. I was like the Clippers. I was like, but he's not gonna go there. I was like, he got spots he could go. Anyway, yeah, that's all. I was like catching up on the trade and talking about the Dallas Lakers perspective. That I think that they sort of got what they want. I will say, and then something still ain't right. It is really fishy. I still think something's fishy, and I think something we might not find out for a long time till about the end of the season or whatever. But something ain't right about how it went down with AD and all them smoothly, and Luka ain't have no idea. But I was like, but there's something going on in the office about how everybody got to report to Luka and stuff like that. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Until then, we'll talk more about it because we got till Thursday. Peace. I'm out.